got the box truck engine out here and I'm going to do a real good cleaning on it. The only cleaning I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to clean the outside so I can get this out to the machine shop. So this is what it looks like. The valley always gets really nasty in there because of the high pressure oil pump. Seals can go bad. Some important things, this right here, I think there's a check ball in there. That's to keep the oil in the head for the high pressure oil pump. I'm not even going to worry about that right now. This eventually will have to be removed, everything cleaned, and all the different areas where oil goes, all the passages and coolant passages. The only thing I'm trying to do right now is just get the basic of it cleaned so I can move this engine out to the machine shop. It's not going to be ready to assemble after I clean this, and I'm not really that worried about getting it perfect either, because I'm just trying to get it to the point where I can hand it off to them and it be clean enough for them to handle it without getting really dirty. You can see just how bad this thing was leaking oil. And I already cleaned it. You can see where I brushed the side of that. So I'm going to get this all cleaned up. It's going to look really good. You got a couple plugs and stuff. I think that might be coolant. I'm not sure. Maybe there's one on the other side too. But anyway, there's a bunch of plugs that do need to be removed. See, that's the coolant one right there, I think. There's one right there. And another one and another one. Those will all need to be removed when we go to clean this thing inside and out, so that we don't have any debris in there, because there's definitely some stuff going on with it based on what destroyed the lifters, and the metal that came off the lifters is still probably inside this engine. You can see how disgusting the oil pan was too. This part's really known to have a bunch of problems with it leaking. I think I paid $200 for the part to fix mine. He paid like $350 for just that piece. Now you can get that part on Amazon for like, I think less than $30 maybe. I'll leave a link to that in the description, but I don't know, like I've never used it before or anything. But even if it comes close to making a better product than the OEM part, then you're way better off with that piece, because you have actual chance of it sealing properly. There's the pepperoni. I got it cleaned once. We're going to go back for another go. The sunsets are looking really nice here. It's nice and clean in the valley. All right, let's see what this looks like. I got this thing pretty cleaned up, so I'll show you how it turned out. I just did an external cleaning. So we still got to remove all of our plugs. See, there's 2 plugs right there. But now we can identify things a lot easier now that we have this cleaned much cleaner. So that needs to come out, those 2 plugs. There's a plug right there. I'm pretty sure that's coolant. We have to decide if we're going to replace all these freeze plugs. They don't look rusted or anything, but they could be rusted on the other side. You got the freeze plugs in the side of the block. That one, I didn't even get that one that clean. That one cleaned up pretty good. So there's a plug there. Yeah, that one's oil pressure right there, because that runs from here to there. So that probably goes all the way to the oil pump. I think that one might be coolant. I'm not sure. Not sure about that one either. That one might be oil. So what we need to do is all the plugs need to come out. We need to run brushes and probably Purple Power or some type of cleaner through each of these galleries so they're all super clean. And then they're all going to get pressure washed out too. This is coolant. That's where your heater is for your block heater that heats up the coolant. That's like oil in, oil out of the oil cooler. The oil cooler runs all the way over here and connects to like where the water pump is, I think. And so you'll have coolant run through that, and then the oil just kind of runs through and back, I think. Actually, the oil runs through, and I think it goes that way maybe. I can't really remember. I think that's right. It goes through the front cover. The oil and the coolant do that. There's a plug there for some reason. I don't know what that one's there for. Oh, that's your oil going over through here to your main right there. So there's a plug there too. That right there is your oil drain from the valley. I think it's when you take the high pressure oil pump off and all your oil leaks out of the heads into the valley. It's either that or, I don't know, I can't remember. I think that might be right. When you take your oil pump off or your injectors out or something like that, then the oil leaks out through here. I think it's the oil pump, and then it leaks out through here down through the bottom of the engine. So that's just the drain for the valley. That's why the valley gets so nasty in there. So we need to clean up our cylinders and take a better look at these and check out the scarring, get an idea what size pistons I need if we're going to bore it out, which I think we have to because of number 8. See, that was number 8 right here, and it had like some scarring in there. So I'll get a better look now that it's cleaned up. All of our lifters go in here and our retainers, so I removed all those and organized them. One thing that's super important is paying attention to this right here. You see how much corrosion it has? This is where the seal is for your water pump. You got coolant that runs through here and here, and if that seal breaks, then you have coolant entering the oil pan from here. That corrosion right there and all that rust has to come out of there. When we go to put this together, we're going to have to use silicone to fill that in, and use silicone all over the gasket so we can restore all those tolerances. So that seal, I think, goes from here and up. And then on this engine, when I took it apart, there was silicone down here to seal out oil from coming out from the front cover. It was like that on this side too. There was just a seal like around this area and up around there. And then there's like silicone from here down for some reason. And then there was silicone from here to here. I don't know exactly how that's supposed to be, but the gaskets were just covering that area and covering like that area. So it's really important to seal all this up so you don't have coolant leaking into your oil, and then you get super confused because you think you got a blown head gasket. In my case, for the other engine, I mean, it was visibly cracked right in that area. I mentioned this before, what happened. This is not the original engine out of the box truck. Someone gave me this engine. Anyway, my piston came up and crushed the glow plug, and then the piston, like the glow plug was on this side, and it shoved that piston back into the wall, and it cracked the block right there on the other engine. So the other engine needs to be sleeved. I had already machined it out to an oversized piston, so these were already thinner. And I think that's basically what did the block in. All these oil squirters also need to be removed. We need to get these cam bushings out, but I'm not worried about the cam bushings right now until after we get it back, because those cam bushings are just going to add protection to the block in case something were to hit that area. So they're all going to get replaced. These edges of the casting, I would just go ahead and knock those out with a boarding tool. Anything that you find like that, it would be wise to just go ahead and knock it out so that you don't have to deal with potentially that breaking off and getting into the oil pan. I got this engine on the engine stand so I can clean the bottom of it, remove the oil squirters. One last thing I want to mention and show you guys is this is where the oil pump sits right here. And we got quite a bit of wear there, so I think there's a possibility this front cover is completely unusable. Or the only other way I thought that I might be able to fix this is if I pull that pin out and then just machine over top of it, machine it flat. But that's all going to depend on if that oil pump can move down, is allowed to move down without causing any other issues. Because otherwise, if I did that, you know, maybe it would be an issue with the crankshaft. I might have to machine it down I don't know. Have you guys ever worked on that before? You think that's ruined? What do you think? Post a comment in the comment section. Also, all this corrosion has to be removed here for this to seal properly again. So this will likely get sandblasted. I already did my other cover, so I don't know. I might use that if I can't use this cover